Hot 97 DJ Drewski, our special guest in the building. The one and only Jon B is here.
He's Drewski.
He's back. He hung out with Nessa a few months ago, but he's back. And he brought a friend with him. Shay Universe is here.
Yes.
Because they are on tour and have a very special show tomorrow night at Sony Hall right here in New York City. Have you performed in New York City before, Shay?
I have, actually. I had a headline show at SOB's not long ago. That was really cool.
And now you're on stage with the one and only Jon B.
Yes. It's a dream, honestly.
It's really cool being on tour with her. She's such a talent. Her voice is so amazing.
Right.
We met in England. I was performing over there. And she opened up for my show, and I was just like, mesmerized. Mesmerized to say the least. And we said, what's it gonna take to get you to come out to the States and do some shows with us? So she agreed, and it's been lovely.
Right. And you've been the headliner, right, for a long time. We're celebrating 30 years.
Right.
Are you picky with who you allow to come on tour with you and who opens up?
Sometimes they don't tell me, and there'll be a surprise waiting at that stage. And I'm like, I did not okay that.
Right.
Yeah, and that's always different. But no, it's nice when you can, have a say, and she just gets the atmosphere right. She gets everybody, in the vibration that I'm trying to have them in when when I come on stage, and it's really celebrating just real soul, she's got a tremendous amount of soul, but her voice is just so soothing, and I think that that's what I want to do for people is put them in the mood to get ready to hear R&B music, again. And if you didn't already come prepared, she's gonna get you prepared. You know what I mean?
And I think it's very important for that type of setup, right? When you're opening up, because you can do your own tour, like you said, at SOBs, and everyone is there for you. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier to just walk out and they go crazy and they're waiting for you. But then you're opening up on a tour for someone like Jon B, where he could walk out and do whatever he wants. He's gonna get celebrated. Mm-hmm. Is there pressure coming out, opening up as because you have your people are there, but then you have Jon B people that are like, okay, who is this girl?
Yeah, 100%. I think that the standard is so high. We're talking about Jon B, like the Jon B. So there's definitely pressure, but it's not anything that I can't live up to, And I feel like one of the things that gravitated us was how our music styles complement each other.
Right.
That's been something it's made it easier to just, ease into his audience because they also appreciate my style of music.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's what I was going to say, is that her music complements what I'm doing. So it puts them in the mood that's, that's just right where I'm going to have them. But at the same time, it's just, it's someone else who's conveying that type of energy, and it's wonderful because her voice, it's like, man, you got to hear her sing. You got to, and then you'll understand. She makes me relax. She makes me relax. I go, kick back my feet. And
she makes it easy for you.
Chill into the seat, and I'm like, you know what? This is what we do, isn't it? So her confidence is speaks for itself when she hops on stage.
Right.
And she rocks it every night. So it's like, it just puts me in the mood to sing. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, now I don't remember why I do this. If I forgot that day, in any way, you're re-inspired by seeing someone, like herself, making her ascension and all that.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Look at this. Look at the love in here. 30 years. Yeah. Was there ever a time you forgot what your purpose was or what you were here for?
Absolutely.
Does it still happen?
When you forget is when you get down and you think that what you're doing isn't good, or what you've done isn't enough, isn't good enough, Mm-hmm. But I think that has to do with, being a king in what you do, or official in what you do, is that you're constantly, striving to keep that status in your head, that you have this, that you still matter in this world where there's thousands of artists coming out every year. And so in your mind, you might fight sometimes to time with whether you're relevant enough in this world where there's so many choices.
Right.
But I think that's when your dedication to your craft really comes in. And when you enjoy what you do, before you're even sharing it. You feel so passionately about what you built that it's time to share. It's inevitable that you have to share it. And then when you share it, you got to feel like, all right, this is a blessing to the world. Here you go. And it's like, it's a gift every time. And it may be an instantaneous hit. It may be a slow burn.
Right.
It takes 15 years for people to figure out, but nevertheless, it's your contribution. So yeah, to get the gall to do that every time, sometimes it takes a little bit longer than it does. For me, it took 10 years to get this record together.
Wow.
It's been 10 years since the last album. I can't believe it's the longest I've ever taken to do an album, but I feel like it was worth it because I had to go through some things.
I was going to say, what is Jon B doing throughout those 10 years? Is it just being a family guy, being a dad, being a husband?
Yes, all that. Being a husband, key, you know what I mean? My wife is my manager, so
right.
It's a balance of, yes, ma'am, I'll be on the plane right away. And then, honey, we need a vacation. You know what I'm saying? We need to go somewhere. We need to do something sexy because, I'm feeling very, very much
We need to detach.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to, have a balance with that, with our relationship. And so that takes effort. You have to make time to be a husband. And being a father, of course, I have an 18-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old daughter. So they need their dad as well. So to be around for them and to go through their, first boyfriend, 18, right? Happening. I want to be there for that, but I'm on tour. So it's a balancing thing, We went through COVID. The pandemic over the last 10 years, we went through, tremendous amount of things that really made everyone sort of go through this transition. But I think music thinking back, like that was where we coped with it. That was one of the coping mechanisms was good music. And they didn't get to shut that down per se. That was the one thing that we were still able to do was listen to our music. But there wasn't any shows. I remember all that, and just to be
stressful, right? It was scary, a scary time.
Scary time, unpredictable, and who would have known that would have happened? But we came back from all that, and that's when I felt this resurgence of energy, almost like I found my purpose again. It was like, if there was any sort of like dust on my collar or whatever, if I'm feeling feeling old and feeling, like I'm 30 years, man, whatever. I dusted all that off, man. And we're back, doing our thing.
30 years must have flew by, right? Does it feel like 10 in a sense? Or does it feel like a real 30 for you?
It does feel like 30. When
really?
I think about, it does feel like 30. Because it was, I'm not the type of artist that stays at home and like sits on my plateau of records and thinks, oh, I've done enough.
Right,
what I mean? I'm always thinking, I haven't done enough. I don't have enough hits the world knows. I need some more hits. I need to go out and see the audience singing my new song that I put out, back to me, or seeing at least a couple mouths moving to the hook, you know what I mean? So that's always like a payoff for me as a writer and as a producer, not just an artist, but somebody who's planning it from the very beginning, from its inception, you know what I'm saying? And then when you see the life that it gets to live, it's like a proud father, you know what I mean? So yeah, I hope for that every chance I can, in the studio, make another hit.
So on this tour, you're performing, of course, the classics, the hits, and then the new music.
Exactly, yeah. It's a great form to put the new music in there because, of course, they're going to, know the songs that, they grew up vibing to, but I feel that it's a really important thing to share this new music and to not shy away from it. There's plenty of shows where sometimes I'll just be like, all right, maybe not tonight.
Right.
Just play the hits or whatever. But it's from my New York fan base who's been rocking with me since the jump, man, I know a lot of them are already going to have the album and are going to come out and celebrate that part with me, as well as all the classics. So.
Is the approach different to making music for Jon B now compared to 30 years ago with a beautiful family, beautiful wife, things that,
it's
where do you pull from?
There's a lot more maturity in my approach now because I'm a little bit more, I'm thinking forward in terms of, how is this going to affect my 18-year-old daughter?
Right.
She's grown enough to know what I'm on, you know what I'm saying? So if I make a record that's super raunchy, it's just like totally not even like my personality right now. It's like living some sort of surreal version of
Right.
myself.
They're gonna call you out on it.
They're gonna be like, yo, well, who is that? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I stay in my lane because it's like I'm really the one writing these records. So it's more of a real description of kind of, or at least a very close description of what I really live like and what I really think like. You know, this is my personality I'm trying to bring through in this, in this record. So whether it be a party record or whether it be a sad song or a love maker, whatever it is, it's just gonna have my personality, my the way I think behind it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Shay, we got to talk about this Tiny Desk performance because I'm sure in your career that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was huge.
Landing that. How does that come about?
The story is really unorthodox, actually. So one of the producers of Tiny Desk had followed me like on Instagram, and I think we had each other on there for a few months, and I was getting ready to release my last project, which was called Love's Letter. And she popped up on something, and it reminded me that we had each other on our radars.
Like mutual.
Yeah, and so I literally just DM'd her, and I was like, hey, I have this project that I'm releasing. I sent her the private link, and I guess you could call it just shooting your shot. Like, I had a feeling this is what you're supposed to do. And there was a little bit of imposter syndrome, like, really, are you about to shoot your shot for a Tiny Desk, for real? Because, there's a lot of artists that are more seasoned in their careers.
Right, right.
But I did it, and she listened, and that's literally how I got my Tiny Desk. So it was a big blessing, and it meant so much, to my community where I'm from in the UK. Like, I'm an R&B artist from the UK, independent, self-managed. So it was really a big milestone.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And that's just the definition of like talent speaks for itself, right? When someone in a position like a producer hears great talent and it's like, hey, let's give her this opportunity, and it's amazing.
Yeah. And that's why I really respect Tiny Desk, because I think that they are one of the few platforms that are still very true to the music.
Right.
Like, they're not about clout per se, because I'm not the biggest artist yet.
Right.
But they still received me. They still saw me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's all for talent. Strictly talent. Because what else would they have done it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but when you're doing platforms like Tiny Desk, when you're on tour with Jon B, people would assume it's much easier to walk into a record label and get a deal. Why have you remained independent? Is there like a theory behind it?
That's a really good question. It has been intentional, I think. I feel like, I don't know if labels have always been like this, but definitely in this day and age, I feel like labels, from what I've observed, they usually want artists that they can mold, mold into what they believe is marketable or what they want to market. I am quite grounded in who I am already.
Right.
I know who I am. I know I have a sense of direction. And so it's not to say I would never sign to a major label, but I feel like if that point was to come, there would have to be a bit more flexibility with me to allow me to remain authentic to myself.
Right.
So that's really the reason I haven't signed to a major yet.
Got it.
And, being independent definitely comes with its challenges, but I enjoy the fact that I still have control over my authenticity,
Right.
how I want to show up in the world.
Well, sitting next to someone who's experienced working with record labels and the ups and downs, what are your thoughts like for a new artist today? Not 30 years ago when you were putting out hits.
Sure.
A new artist today, like her coming into the game.
Yeah.
Is there advice? Is there Jon B advice you would tell her, like how to move?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the wonderful things that I'm embracing right now is being independent. Being that I've spent so many years being signed to the majors. I know what it's like to have the money spent, on your behalf from the labels. You don't see the checks getting written, and they're getting written, and you're getting the full red carpet through all of the things. But at the same time, you don't know how much the payback that all of that is. You cannot see the receipt of what y'all spent this week. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're keeping all that, to themselves. So artists don't know what's being spent on their behalf. And at the end of the day, when you come back and your bill for dinner is $15 million or something like that. Like I wasn't that big of an artist, man. What you mean, man? A lot bigger for 15. That's my point. Is just like when you control the narrative and you control, like you said, control is a key word. What you sound like, what you look like. You're whether you're on tour or not. You know what I mean? A lot of those things really matter, and where you want to be as well. Like, where do you want to go? Where do you want to tour? Why do you want to work with this producer? All of those things are are fights you don't have to have, or really even conversations you have to have.
Right.
If you're an independent person, because you're basically your own boss. You're the one who's navigating where you're going to go next. And I love that idea of not having sort of a team of people that you have to sit down with and make sure everybody concurs where your idea is. I mean, she's self-managed, this one right here, making these moves and making it to Tiny Desk, and she's on tour with me, and she's her music is sounding amazing. The production is amazing. The writing is amazing. So who's to say you can't do this on your own? In fact,
can.
She's the example of why you can. And me, taking over my career as far as keeping it going, after, let's say I spent like 15 years of my life being signed to majors. Well, it's a 30-year career. I've done 15 years of independence as well, now.
Wow.
So it's an equal experience. And I would tell you, both are to be valued, but I will say that when you build something yourself from the ground up and you watch it hold up, over time, that's a very gratifying feeling.
Right.
It makes you have a lot of gratitude, waking up and, dang, if it wasn't for the fans and me writing these records and singing these songs, I guess that's what it's really about, isn't it? And getting to the proof of why we're still here is because of y'all, the fans, and me, the artist, continuing to this relationship, continuing to nurture it,
And I'm sure at some points it gets frustrating for you, like managing yourself and doing everything on your own.
Absolutely.
There's like...
Absolutely. I think I'm at that point now where, I'm open to like branching out and expanding. It just has to be right. I think I've done the best that I can for myself thus far. But one thing I've learned whilst touring with Jon and just over the past couple months is that the people you have around you really matter.
100%.
And your support system and your team is important because that is what's going to keep you afloat, That's the sustainability. Yeah.
And sometimes that team can be small. It doesn't have to be the biggest team, you know what I mean? Because like you said, it's crucial who you have around you.
Right.
And I think people think that just because you might have an entourage of guys or whatever it is, that makes you that much more solid as an artist. But really, it's like that's that many more mouths to feed and to make sure
more
everybody's
expenses.
taken care of. So it's like sometimes having a smaller team is actually, I will say, my wife and I were, that's
the team.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's very simple because it's just a back and forth between us,
Right.
as far as how to navigate this industry. And I think having experience being signed to the labels and kind of already knowing what the corporate structure is kind of like, I know what I'm missing. You know what I mean? As far as like, I know what I'm missing.
Did you have any nightmare label experiences? Because artists, especially in your era that started in your day, you hear these stories of like nightmares they went through, things they signed without even, being knowledgeable on it. Like,
Well, I will say that, it's been 30 years and it wasn't all, sweet the whole time. I've been a writer of my music, a producer of my music, and a performer of my music. And, compensation is real, as far as like when you're that involved, there's a lot of checks, what I mean, that need to be written.
And not just your music, others too.
Yeah.
Right.
Other people are produced and written for.
Big records.
So, when you're getting, paid for one thing and not getting paid for another, you're sort of like, all right, where's that? Where's all that? And so, that could be a challenge to some because it'll be something in the back of your mind that can almost it can hold you back. I'm not gonna lie. It can make you depressed and all that. You're like, listen, I don't want to have to go out and do shows all the time.
Just to make a penny.
You know, I want to be able to make some money from my publishing. You know?
Right.
And you know, others, it might, you know, you might have signed a deal to where it's going to take some years to get that money. And in this sense, that's the deal I signed. You know, and but you know, I feel like the universe is working it out. I've paid so many dues already, and so many years have passed that you can't keep me like I'm like the Count of Monte Cristo. You know?
Right, right.
I'm gonna come back on a big balloon out the sky. You know what I mean? You know, once I'm blessed with what I'm supposed to have. You know, because it's all there, and you can't take that away. But a matter of getting to it is the key. You know, it's there's gems and you know, treasure, but it's sunken in the deep places. You know what I mean? I might have to dive down deep and go find that one, you know, and pull her back up. But it is what it is, and it's an adventure that I love having. You know, this is an absolute adventure, and I'm exploring. You know, but I'm not allowing the things that happened to me in the past define my future.
Right.
I'm present in in what I'm doing right now.
So when Drake samples a Jon B record, do you see any benefits from that? When I say benefits, I'm talking about a check.
Yeah, I see a check.
Because it benefits you in other ways, of course. It brings back all the but like, do you get to see any of that?
It's not the kind of money that would be, you know, like you're looking at like, wow, you know.
Life-changing.
Life-changing, but nevertheless, there's a check and there's money involved. There's compensation. You know, I'm not the type of person that was, you know, with that situation, I wasn't necessarily compliment to me. That I was more hype on him doing it.
Of course, right.
About, hey man, I need to get a check on that money. You know, what's up with that money, bro? You know,
but when the hype comes down, you know, it's like, all right, well, where's my check?
When the hype dies down, you know, it's like, we getting something for that, right? You know?
Right.
No, it is love. But you know, the original record itself.
That was like a B-side record.
It's called "Calling on You," the original, and it was on my 4th album. Stronger Every Day, or was it on the 3rd album? I think it was 3rd album.
Let's call Drake. Let's ask.
I think it was my 3rd album. Yeah. No, it was Pleasures You Like. That's the 3rd album. Yeah. So yeah, 3rd album, Pleasures You Like, has a song called "Calling on You" on there, and this is an album cut. But I always loved that record, and so when he sampled it and left the hook alone and left my vocals in there and everything, I was just like, man, that ended up being a single anyways, and it was 10, 15 years later.
That's how life works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you get a heads up? Like, hey, they're using this?
They hit me up, and we had a conference call, and they played it for me over the conference call. And
did you speak to Drake?
You know, we didn't speak directly.
Still haven't spoke to him since that came out?
No, it's actually I have.
Okay.
I came to a show that he did in L.A., and came backstage and said what's up, and him and 40 Shabib and just peace and thanks for thinking of your boy. You know what I mean? Because I'm evidently, I mean, I guess he's listened to my music, and
of course everyone has, John.
You know, he's been supportive. So anytime artists of his caliber samples my music, I'm delighted, man.
Because people talk a lot of crap about Drake, but I feel like he picks and chooses the right people to give flowers to in his way, right? It might not be in an interview where but he's you know, strategic with the way he gives props to people, and then you go like, oh no, Jon deserves that. Like that's
I appreciate
in
it.
our world, in our culture, like you're that dude. So it's like,
listen, I take the flowers, bro. I take it. I appreciate it. You know, so yeah, it's a way for the music also to live on, and you know, in terms of a new generation that's taking it in, the younger people that are 20, you know, just in their 20s, and maybe even younger, you know, that haven't really grew up on my music. They haven't really heard my music like that, so they get to hear me through that scenario, and it's cool because it's a reintroduction to what I do, you know. So and then they go and hear the original, and they're like, oh, that's the song he sampled? Oh, okay, cool.
Do you get cool dad points when Drake uses like samples your
cool,
song?
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's cool to have my cousins.
You got
and things like
teenage
that, you know,
kids.
Yo,
It's
Drake
like
sample your record, bro. That's crazy. And then recently, The Weeknd sampled my record.
oh,
Someone to Love.
look how humble he is.
No, I mean, I'm excited about it because it's like
Two of the
this is
biggest
we're
in the
talking
game
about-
right now.
Yeah, we're talking about two of the, you know.
Which
very,
one
very
did
huge
The Weeknd
artists.
sample?
He sampled Someone to Love. And he sampled
Oh, okay.
the very first part of my bridge line. I was like, for once in my life, I wouldn't let love inside. He sampled that line and he
Look at
sped
that.
it up like a little chipmunk voice.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
How they
Sped
do
it up in
hip-hop,
the-
you know.
The Canadians love you, Jon B.
No, it was cool. And Mike Dean, you know, hit me up on that one. He's like, man, I sampled Babyface on your song Someone to Love. I said, what part? He played me the part. And I said, man, that's me, man. He's like, you know what? I watched the video as I'm watching the video. It is you, bro. My bad.
Right.
He's like, that is you, man. I thought it was Babyface. I was like, well, you know, we do sound a lot alike on that song. So, you know, that's an easy mistake to make, I guess. But that was cool to let him know, no, that is me. He did sample me.
That's incredible. Like
Yeah.
you're at that stage in your career where now newer
and I've
generation
always wanted
sampling.
to work with The Weeknd. So
Right.
this is sort of a way to be a fly on the wall to something really great that I've always wanted to be a part of. So yeah,
Right.
this is an extension. I would love to get in the studio for real though and
Of course.
hook up something nice. Yeah.
Shea Universe. You're sitting next to R&B legend. He probably doesn't like those titles, but
You're far too kind. So.
you got to start putting in your word too. Like, hey, I might need to get in a booth with you too.
We already.
I planted
Oh, you've
the
been
seed
cooking up.
already, yeah.
Oh, you planted the
Definitely
seed.
planted the seed for sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's
like,
in the foreseeable future, I think.
yeah, she's in LA. I'm in LA. So
Got it.
it's already kind of like been thought of. Now we're on tour. We're in tour mode. So it's
Right. That's the focus.
It's the focus right now. But yeah, there's plenty of energy
Yes.
headed that way.
And you might be able to sign at the net management. You know what I'm saying? They might open up. She might have a new management company and you don't have to do everything yourself.
She's been the apple of our eye for like,
Honestly.
as long as we've gotten to know her. She's been absolutely so sweet to work with, and you know, she's very much this person right here. She doesn't change. She's very calm, very just relaxed, and very mature. And she's like a seasoned vet already. This one right here, man.
Yeah.
She is,
That's
man.
such a huge compliment.
I mean, so many people come into it, and I feel that, you know, they don't know how to speak in interviews. They don't know necessarily how to stay on topic with what the question is. And to watch you do this and excel, man, and just, you know, this is your first one. This ain't your first one. You've been here. You got an old soul, girl. Like, you know what I mean? You've been here before. So
Being in your position and you guys building your own team, did you ever think about like signing artists to your own production?
it's a lot of responsibility that goes into signing an artist. I mean, that almost would take the place of me being the artist in a sense.
Right.
That's why I felt it was such a commitment to be an artist. And at first, that wasn't my dream. My dream was to be the guy playing the keyboard, playing the drum machine, playing the drums,
Really?
writing the songs, and then showing you how to sing it, like Babyface.
Right.
And Babyface is an artist, but that wasn't his main gig, was it?
What, a real
More
producer.
hits from Babyface on other people and the people that he produced than he even did for himself. So he really put himself second in a sense as an artist. And so that's kind of like how I envisioned myself coming into the game, was following him in his footsteps like that. But he was the one to actually tell me, no, this is your voice on these records. Like, why not just you be the
Right,
tool for
right.
yourself, and your music gets to live through you being the artist.
Right.
And I was like, oh man, you want me to do like a Prince thing or something like that? Like, you know, like what is, like, cause you're Babyface, but you're still a producer. And he's just like, nah, you don't have to be Prince, but
Right.
you know, you can
Be you.
Jon B. And I'm like, I kind of like the sound of that. All right, I think I'll give it a shot, you know? So, you know, and for me, it was easier to produce myself than it was for me to produce other people.
Right.
You know, it's go in the booth, sing now, you know, make a beat, you know. So it's like very, very streamlined from 18 to get signed to him and start that process.
Right. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. Now I gotta ask, because I get it a lot. Not so much now with social media, but people hear me on the radio, right? And then I see them in person, and they go, "This whole time I thought you were black," right? And it's just like the perception. But
Right.
back then, were you getting that a lot based on your music?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, to me, it's a compliment in the highest, man, because these are the, all my heroes are black. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The guys I grew up learning how to sing from, learning how to play chords and
Right.
produce and make beats from. My favorite MCs, my favorite singers. I mean, so to just be a part of the family and be welcomed in like that, as your brother from another mother, as the guest, because gets invited to
The barbecue. Yeah, Jon B was always invited to the barbecue.
So it's love, and I just celebrate that itself. But don't get too comfortable to where, you don't have a responsibility to
Right.
respect the culture and respect the what came before you, and how to really say thank you to the lineage that you're connected to.
Right.
Not to lose your great, not to lose that gratitude that you should have for what came before you. You know what I mean?
Right. But because you come from more of a classical home, right? Classical background.
Yeah.
So to transition into like soulful R&B.
Yeah, that was for me just like the natural way that I started really making my music. Because early on, I started to make my first style of music was really following the footsteps of like groups like Duran Duran, like Human League, and like all this European like electronica kind of style music. It was, I guess, rock, but not like grungy, hard metal rock. It was like danceable rock. It sounded like Blondie, but with male voices on it, So for me, that music was so, it just locked me in, I was locked into Simple Minds. I was locked into Duran Duran, all those. So that really grabbed my attention, and I learned that style of music, playing drums, trying to start rock bands, whatever. But it didn't really, it kind of fizzled out. I lost my attention with that. And when groups like New Edition came out, Michael Jackson.
You're like, oh, yes.
And I'm like, I love that music. I love it. And so I started to sing that, that way.
Right.
In talent shows. I would enter myself into a talent show, and, and I'd write a song that was an R&B song, and I'd perform it, and my friends would be out there watching me like, that's Jon? Like, you sing, Jon? I'm like, yeah, I sing. And, this is what I've been on. I've been on my I'll Be Sure and my New Edition and my Guy. And, and so to show that influence, they were going crazy, and I was getting this reaction I didn't know I was going to get. All my friends who would hate on me, tell me my shoes is dirty or whatever, all of a sudden now clapping for me and, and showing love. And so that was really like the wind beneath my wings at that point. It was what I needed to kind of just continue.
Right.
And I just kept entering contests, talent shows. I started a singing group for a little while with some friends from school, just to kind of keep the momentum going, but that fizzled out too. And I went back to being solo, and at 18, I was a senior year in high school, and I checked myself out of school, man, because I was just like, damn,
this ain't it.
Man, this ain't it, man. I'm not going to college. I'm not doing that.
Right. It's not.
I'm going to get a record deal. And that's exactly what I did.
Some people are born for certain things, and clearly you were born to do this.
I was born to do this.
Right? It took you, different styles of music to figure it out, but you were born for this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and even like, gospel choir in high school and stuff like that, like getting to have that experience of singing in a choir and being around real singers, like singers,
right.
I mean, guys and girls who could just go, and they're singing from their diaphragm, and there's so much strength. There's such a way to sing that you learn in gospel choir by being around that type of energy. So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't probably project like I do, in my live shows and stuff like that. I learned a lot of that just in choir. So yeah, I'm grateful for those years,
Do you feel like early Jon B, when stepping on stage, now R&B Jon B though, it was like pressure too, because they're like, oh, this white boy's coming on stage. Now you got to perform. Because even me, like I'm on Hot 97, right? And I DJ all different clubs, all different events, concerts. and there's like promoters that might book me, and it's more for like, let's see if he could rock this room. Let's see if he really is, you know. And early on, now it's different. But did you feel like you went through that too, whether you were tested or?
Yeah. You know, and then, you know, somebody in the audience, say, white boy, you know what I mean? All right, cool, man. All right, that's what's up, you know. Man, that just goes with the territory.
Right.
You know?
Because there might be a young kid that's, you know, listening. It's like, how Jon B get through it?
In high school, we had White Boy Wednesday, man. Like, you guard your chest because you might get socked in your chest just for being white. You know what I mean? So, like, I went through all of that, man. And, you know, even now, I'm 50, man. I'm still
going through it.
I'm your brother from another mother. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jokes like, you know, black don't crack, and hopefully some beige don't age. You know what I mean? It just funny shit like that. You know, I think it's been a fun thing to be just a part of the culture, man.
Of course, right.
Be myself and show up as a man. Don't show up as a white man. Show up as
exactly.
A man. We're all men.
We're human.
You know, we're human, man. So I'm not coming into the game looking at it like, oh, I have this, you know, this privilege. You know, it's more like, you know, what the privilege is to be a part of y'all.
Right.
That's the privilege of mine, is to call myself R&B, hip hop, you know, and also honor every other style of music. You know, I love house music, I love rock music, I love jazz, I love gospel. You know what I mean? So there's so many Caribbean music and Afrobeat. You know, it's just so much to enjoy.
Right.
It's all mine to enjoy because this is my world. This is our world, y'all. So,
yes.
you know, let's share it and enjoy each other and know that I'm not the only one like me. I know there's mad guys like me walking.
Yeah, but Jon, you set the bar. You know what I'm saying? You opened the door. You know what I'm saying? To make white boys cool, right? Even young white DJs.
Man,
I used to get
you
know, if you get emotional, you on your Jon B shit. And it's you're that guy, you know what I'm saying?
I want to work with Mark Ronson. That's who I really want to work with. I would love to get with a guy like that because I think we're like brothers from other, you know, like that's like my brother I've never known, but we are so similar in terms of the way we think and also our influences.
Right.
When I found out how he came up with music and it was like the same order and same way as me, I was like, I've never met anyone like me.
Right.
And he's just as soulful, just as, you know,
that would be a great link up.
So hopefully.
Well, first the weekend, then we'll go to Mark Ronson.
We got to do it all. Why not put us all in the room? Right?
Yes. Let's get busy. Let's cook up.
Let's cook up.
You spoke about gospel, so I just got to ask Shay. Your mom made gospel music, right?
Yeah.
So you were around gospel music. Dad was a pastor. You grew up in a religious household, right?
Yeah,
you would say.
Yeah, very like strict Christian, Pentecostal Christian.
Right.
But I agree entirely with what Jon said. I think growing up around gospel music, it really does fine tune your musical ear for sure.
Right.
Like I think gospel singers are like the top caliber of singer you can get, you know, in terms of just the vocal agility, the pitch, like the melody lines, everything. So yeah, that was like a great start-up for me. And my mum being a gospel singer, she actually did that like as a profession for a time. So like she would just, you know, travel around the world, go to different churches. So I feel like that was also, you know, an inspiring thing to see and witness as well.
Right. Is mom able to witness everything you've been doing?
Yeah, she is. My mum and my dad, they're actually really supportive, which I'm grateful for because I'm Nigerian and my parents are like first gen. So usually they don't really... traditionally, they wouldn't really support.
Really strict with
they want you
education.
To be like a lawyer or a doctor.
Right.
The professions that bring a lot of immediate money, right?
Right.
But they've been so supportive of me, and I think they really believe in what I'm called to do. And so they've always just, you know, encouraged me, and they still do.
Yeah, because they have to be proud of you, like
they are,
to see everything you have going on and being in the States and going on tour and living your dream. You know, I think parents and your parent, you kind of live vicariously through, you know, they're living through you now, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is.
Performing in New York City,
man.
Sony Hall with Jon B.
It's crazy.
She's amazing, man. So I'm looking forward to it. Sony Hall, we're coming back. You know, it's been a while since I've been in New York. It's been too long. I mean, we were just in Brooklyn not too long ago. Doing a show.
And you did Jersey recently, right?
Jersey as well. You know, a few songs here and there. Jersey was actually a proper show, but but I want to come see my New York fam, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's a beautiful time. We always have a good time there.
Yeah, it's New York City's, to me, one of the greatest cities in the world.
This is,
If not the, but you guys, might feel different.
hey, listen, man, this is where I got my start. This is where I cut my teeth, man.
Right.
So we filmed Someone to Love right under the Brooklyn Bridge right there, you know what I mean? So I remember being 18 and waking up the crack of dawn and filming that video. That was the first video I ever shot with Babyface.
Wow.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So New
In
York
Brooklyn.
was just epic for me. It's like this is where I did all my business. Sony Epic was right here on
Right.
5th and Madison, and
I think your swag gave
staying
New
at the
York
Parker
too.
Meridian. You know what I mean?
As a little kid, I thought you were from New York. I thought Jon B
I
was
born
from
out
New
here. I
York.
was born in Rhode Island.
Okay,
and,
okay.
I lived out here until I was about 4 years old.
And then went to the
And
West.
then I went to the West Coast and
Right.
California.
But your swag always gave like a New York.
I felt more connected to New York energy.
Mm.
Everything from shell toe Adidas to Tim's to just how y'all
Right.
the fades and everything. I saw my first Caesar cut coming out here at 13. You know what I mean? And some dude in the street was just chilling with the fade and Caesar cut. I was like, I'm going back home. With that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And there wasn't too many white boys on the West Coast.
Yeah, with that
getting a haircut like that.
That
So-
bop. That's it.
So I did that in high school, you know what I mean? Had the full on same cut that you see on my Cool Relax album.
Right.
I went back to that because they made me grow my hair out for my first album. They wanted me to be like George Michael's type, character. Like,
Right.
long hair with the streak in it. And I was like, listen, that's not me. That's high fashion, but that's not me, Like, I love Duran Duran, but that's not me right now, you know what I mean? So let's back off that a
Of
little
course.
bit. And then when it was the photo shoot for Cool Relax, I literally just buzzed it at the video shoot. And
Oh, right
my-
on the.
right on.
Oh
the
my.
side. I said, cut it off, bro. Before they can even say anything, just cut it off. Give me back. I want
Right,
me
right,
back,
right.
And then I got told off by Tracy Edmonds when she got on the. What are you
See,
doing?
that's the label ish right there.
You know what I mean? She went nuts on me, and but they ended up liking it because that's what ended up being the bigger records, anyways. Were
Right.
with that look. So,
But I feel like at a certain point, some artists could do whatever they want. And if they're as good as you are, like you could get away with anything.
Oh, man,
you could do
thank you.
crazy stuff. You get away with it because your music, again, speaks for itself. You don't need the whole, all the extra stuff.
man, it's been a real ride, bro, and it's
Right.
been a lovely ride, and I've enjoyed this, making music for people and performing for people and getting to speak with people in interviews and chop it up and build, and encourage the future, generations to believe in yourself, man. This artistry thing is fun. Production is fun.
Right.
Producing, writing, playing instruments, performing.
Was it fun outside of the music? Because I'm getting that.
Business.
Wifey might have to cover her ear. This was before her time, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen recently Tyrese spoke about his body count. Right, Tyrese, an R&B artist, said it was out of control to a point where he had to kind of like say to himself, "I gotta chill out because this could lead me into a bad place." Sleeping around with all these women, and all these women are sleeping around with the same men. Before Wifey's time,
Yeah.
did you feel like you went through that phase as a young R&B artist, the hottest in the '90s, the coolest white boy?
I think my friends were getting laid more than me, man. You know what I mean? All my peoples that were on the road with me, my band and my background singers, I'm like, man, y'all getting more play than me. I guess
Were you laying it up to
not
them
that I
on
don't have
some?
no game. It's just that, my priorities were set. I was working with Tony Braxton, and I'm working with, in the studio. I'm literally going home to work with Color Me Bad or go work with After 7 or go work with New Edition. My weekends were literally busy. I'm doing things that a 30-year-old was doing, 30, 40-year-old men were doing at 18, 19.
Right.
Working alongside Babyface, watching him produce Boys to Men, watching him produce Madonna, you know what I mean? Like, I was there when he wrote Take a Bow with Madonna. I was in the house.
Right.
And he's like, give us a minute, man. And so, minute turned into like 3 hours later. I come back in the room and the little vibe that just got started right in front of me is all of a sudden now this massive hit with Madonna on it. Just to have those opportunities like that.
You
I
feel
had
like
to
you didn't have
sacrifice
time to.
I had to sacrifice some things. And the things that my friends were doing in college, I was the same age as them. I just wasn't going to college.
Right.
But when I turn up, at the dorms or whatever, at the college parties,
Bro,
or
you the
whatever,
hottest.
I'd show up and they'd be like, "Okay, that's Jon B. Oh, that's cool." But it was more like, "Oh, can we get a picture real quick?
Right, right.
It wasn't that I was getting, the attention that I wanted necessarily. I was
Did you
trying to-
want? I feel like if you wanted it, you could have got it. Because an
definitely coulda got
R&B
it.
artist
I
at
definitely
that
coulda got it,
time.
but you'd be surprised though in terms of like what my motivations were.
That's what I'm saying.
I
You
think I always
chose.
kinda
You didn't put
wanted
that
to-
energy out there.
You know what? I don't want to sound corny. I don't want to sound
Because they
too
say we all got to
emotional.
go through our whole phase, and you were young and lit.
Oh, man, I tried
Before
to-
wifey's
You know
time.
what's so crazy? I tried to settle down right away out of high school, bro. I was. So,
Oh, you were real like a real
I
lover
was trying
R&B
to be
artist.
like a lover, real
Lover
like
boy.
Just keep it simple. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't want things to change. Also, I wanted to kind of somehow keep things from changing. That's what I was so immature, because I was like, oh, things can always be like they were in senior year,
Right.
or a year after, the year that I got signed. Things can always be like this. I'm the man, and you're my girl, and we're gonna, ride off in the sunset together.
Right.
And when things start to change, that's when the real reality hits, and you're like, all right, I guess I'm on my own on this thing, and I guess I started really, owning this artistry thing.
Right.
And that's what I started to do. And that's why you saw an album 3 years after the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and, songs with Tupac. And so, you know what I mean? I was outside
Right,
for
right,
real.
right.
Really, really building with the heads.
Yeah, you hang out with rappers
industry.
now. You're the hot R&B
I
artist.
don't know how that had. The universe just had it, that he just called me up and he's like, man, what's up, man? We had a mutual friend who he gave him my number, and he's like, man, come down to the video shoot for How Do You Want It? I'm shooting, today. And I was like, I'm on my way.
Right.
The rest is history.
Damn.
So yeah.
Well, I want to give credit and flowers to your manager for
Yes,
dealing
yes.
with you,
Yes,
and
thank you for dealing with me.
yeah, thank you for dealing with him and allowing us to still be able to celebrate Jon B.
This album really is her baby. It really is. Waiting on You is the name of my new album, featuring Tank, Donnell Jones, Alex Isley, and Rick Ross on there. And,
Rick Ross.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got a
The
joint with
boss
Ross,
is on
man.
there.
The boss is on there. And I mean, that was really cool to make that happen, because that, was going back to the energy that I had with Tupac.
Right,
As
right.
far as, or that I had with Nas. Any of the guys I've had the pleasure of working with, these MCs are like incredible what they do. Their voices are incredible. They write incredible lyrics.
Right.
So to just enhance my record, to see the vision, first of all, of wanting to do it, I went up to his crib and I just, I was invited to the crib and I just told him my concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually was just more about visually kind of what I had in mind. And he had recently put out a song called Santorini, Greece, which I was really feeling that vibe. And I was like, that's luxury. That's what
Right,
you do.
right.
And so I just want this song to reflect that. It's like something you could play on a yacht or something, like in Miami, somewhere fly, and just feel like it fits the atmosphere.
Right.
We're setting the atmosphere.
When are we getting that?
That's out right now.
Oh, that's out
it's
now.
called Hills to the Hood, and it's featuring Rick Ross. That's a record from my eclectic folks, the ones who like my mid-tempos and my ballads.
Right.
It's
Get a little bit
mid-tempo
of
vibe.
both.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, but a little bit of Afrobeat influence in there, a little bit. Still R&B, but it's exotic R&B.
Right.
It's yacht boy music right there.
Now, you spoke about shooting your first video here in Brooklyn, but I know Chosen, is that out? Is it coming?
That is the next single that we just really
You shot the video.
just released it. We shot the video. Chris Brown's the video's directors. We actually, Travis and Sam, we met at one of Chris Brown's parties.
Got it.
And said peace to Chris, met him, and he was cool. And then they both came up to me and they were like, man, we're fans of you too.
Right, right.
And we'd love to work with you. And I said, man, let's do something. So they called me up and we talked about the video, the song, and I started to say how I wanted to do something exotic. I wanted to do something. Let's get out of town. And,
Right, yeah.
Let's go somewhere where
There's palm trees and
palm trees, and let's take a model with us or someone. We in this case, we had the pleasure of working with Jessica Rich.
nice.
I'm sorry, Jessica White. Oh my God, I did a collabo with a
Right.
girl named Jessica Rich. Big shout Jessica Rich, but Jessica White.
Jessica
the one
White.
in the video. And she is just, she's fun to look at.
Mm-hmm.
She's a beautiful lady, and she knows how to do her thing, man. As far as just, bringing that whole energy to the video, the luxury of this video is really what it reflects. It reflects the song, what the song is talking about, and Chosen is really about me really giving my wife her props, you know. If you want to get specific with it,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's me just talking to my wife, letting her know, like, you don't have to choose because you've chosen, you know. You don't have to walk around and look at who's that, because, you know, you're the one.
You're the one.
Yeah, so it's a nice way of being able to get back in the club and still remain to be authentic in who I am and what I'm about and what I'm doing right now with my life.
Right.
At the same time, I want to uplift the women, let them know, let all ladies know that they're chosen. You know what I mean? You got a purpose out here, and you are worth, you know, a man coming to you and wanting to cater to you and wanting to, you know, show that chivalry. You guys deserve it, man. You know, I want women to be empowered by that record for sure.
That's nice of you, John. But I feel like there's a few women out here that, they don't fit that category. But we gonna focus on the ones that do.
We gonna focus on the ones
Yeah,
that do,
the chosen
man.
ones.
The chosen ones.
Like Shay Universe.
Yeah, that's right.
Shay, are you a chosen one? Are you locked down? How does this work in your personal relationship life?
In my personal relationship life.
Have you been chosen?
Not yet. I haven't been. I'm single right now, but you know what? I'm enjoying it. I feel like I'm very career focused right now. I've just relocated to the US, so I'm living in LA now.
Right.
And it's intentional. It's purposeful. I know why I'm there. I know what I'm there to do. So I'm definitely open to love, but I'm not pressed about it right now. You know, being single is fun. Enjoy it. I feel like as a woman, especially, enjoy it while it lasts. Because once you have the man, and once you have the family, and once you have the, you know, the babies and everything. Yeah. Life is not the same anymore.
Yeah,
so
it's different. It's fun too, but
it's a different fun.
Exactly. It's still got its fun, but it's a different fun. So I'm just being present in right now.
And as far as music goes, is there more music coming? Is there videos popping out? Like, what are we doing?
So I'm working on new music right now. As John was saying, because we've been touring.
Right.
That's just, you know, what it's been right now. So that's been the main focus. And touring does take a lot. It's like you're up and down the different time zones and everything. So my mind has more been in that space. But after this Sony Hall show, I will be, you know, locking in and just completing the next chapter of music. So I'm excited for that.
Last question, because you brought up hanging out with Chris Brown and, you know, the directors. The Pivot podcast, they were talking about how they feel like Chris Brown is a better entertainer than Michael Jackson. You being an R&B icon, what are your thoughts on that statement?
I think
today's Chris Brown versus MJ.
I think he absolutely is the most talented, like Chris Brown. Like he elevated what Michael started off. He elevated it.
Got it.
Because he can sing better than Michael Jackson. The runs and the melody, all the things he can do with his voice are, as a vocalist, that's
right.
He can sing better in the senses that Michael didn't do those
ranges. And
there's some runs that Michael did back in the day, you know what I mean? But in terms of vocal dexterity and having the skill of being able to do more with his voice, I'll give him that. Chris Brown has definitely ascended the style.
Right.
And you can hear the influence of Michael, but he still has his own thing. Chris is his own, just like Michael Jackson was his own thing. So I think that, you know, he still remains to be his own artist. But as far as being able to fly across the room, jump down on the floor, do his moves, and still sound that good as you sing, come on, man. There's only so many. I don't think there's many people on the planet that are given that, so many gifts like that. So, and I love to see how artists are maturing. They're going from singing songs that, you know, have a certain level of maturity to even more maturity. And it's wonderful to see people grow like him, you know, because we got to see him literally grow up in the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? As a young kid coming in and then growing up and maturing. And now with the songs, you know, like the record that's, you know, Residual record, I feel like that's where him and I really overlap stylistically. I love that, how that record was put together stylistically, and I also love the lyrics on that song. I think that it shows how we can still write love songs, y'all. Like let's start writing love songs again. You know, that's a good song though. Yeah.
You don't think we could get like a Jon B freestyle over the residual instrumental? Like,
Oh, why
I
not?
think that would go viral.
No, I wouldn't want to. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's his word.
Wifey,
That's his
I'm gonna
world.
get the instrumental.
We
I'll
need
send it to you.
All right, cool. No. I mean, that'd be fun to do.
That would be hard.
I
Like,
love that beat, but it reminds me of a song that I put out on one of my independent albums a couple albums ago. It's a song called Only One. And stylistically, I just feel like when you love those big drums like that, those big Prince drums, like
right.
you know, that's already, we're speaking the same language.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of those records, and I love that.
All right, we'll be waiting on the freestyle
All right.
over the residual
You
beat,
might-
Jon
you
B.
never know. You never
Right.
know.
But Shay,
I want to definitely collaborate with.
oh no,
Chris
yeah,
Brown, though.
we need that.
Yes, we need that. We need that
Please.
collaboration.
Shay, CB over MJ, Chris Brown, better entertainer than Michael Jackson overall.
You know what? I will have to agree with John's breakdown. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I will have to agree. The way he's broken it down is pretty perfect. Chris Brown is undeniably great. So is MJ.
Of course.
They're
Yeah.
both
Of course.
amazing. But I think, yeah, like voice for voice, skill for skill, performance for performance. I feel like Chris Brown is better, but I feel like because MJ was like one of the first to open up that kind of gateway, he holds a lot of weight in that sense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like being like a pioneer of sorts. But yeah, I think tit for tat, I would probably go with Chris Brown
Right.
overall.
And like you heard DJ Nuff say, there wouldn't be a Chris Brown if there wasn't a Michael Jackson. Do
That's
you
right.
agree with that
Absolutely.
statement?
I do. I mean, it's the same thing as me. There wouldn't be, a Jon B without a baby face.
Without a baby
That's
face.
why I give him his flowers on every interview, no matter what.
Right. Thank you, Babyface.
Thank you, babyface.
Yeah, thank you for Jon B.
Thank you for allowing me to have my career that I have. Absolutely. And that's the foundation.
Right.
So if you can't admit your foundation, then you're walking on shaky
Right.
ground. You know what I mean? I like to know what and the next step that I make is I'm good because I have a foundation under my feet. You know what I mean? I have friends in high places.
Right.
Michael Jackson being one of them, man. I got to work with him and have his, have that experience that we had be a real thing in my mind. I'll never forget what it was like to be a little kid and watch the Jackson 5 cartoon, after school, or, growing up seeing The Wiz for the first time, and watching him in The Wiz,
Right.
seeing, the album Off the Wall, and hearing the song Can't Help It for the first time, and Thriller video.
Is there
And
any-
there's so many, instances where Michael was such an absolute, that was the genesis for me
Right.
of understanding R&B.
Was there any like footage of you in the studio with these like the Tupacs and the MJs at that time? It wasn't
I
a
wish
thing.
I had the footage. If it's out there, I wish I had it. We've been trying to get the footage of me and Pac
Right.
in the studio because there's been rumors of that session.
Yeah, we need
recorded.
that. Come on,
And
send
I'm
that.
like, come on now, like the person with the footage, give it up already, man. You know what I mean? It's been too long. You know who you are. If you hear this message,
Yeah, we need that.
we need that already.
What are we holding on for?
I think that it's a ransom. it's a ransom.
Right.
It's a shakedown, man. No, we're gonna see what happens. But
Right. Yeah, we need all that. Send all of that.
I got a picture with Michael Jackson. That's all I have. I don't have any.
Yeah, because you got to think if
His
it's like
actual
in
picture of us
today's
standing
world,
together and taking.
everything is documented. Everything, phones,
Yes,
cameras,
well,
everywhere we go.
That's what you guys are so lucky to have is, all of this transparency, man, and being able to record it.
Right.
I love it for my daughters because I could literally go back to when they were first born and
Exactly.
back to current days and like, look how you changed and look at you saying this, record like video
Right,
recording
right.
of them, So that for that purpose is priceless.
Well, Shay, you owe me because forever you'll have footage of you and Jon B at Hot 97 in New York City
Yes.
the day before your big show at Sony Hall.
Man, I'm so honored to be a part of her, her ascension and,
Right,
and
right.
somebody that she can say believed in her along the way because she is truly a talent. She is
Right.
legit. So come on out, y'all, man, and come get blessed
Yes,
by Shay
Sony
Universe,
Hall
for real, Jon B.
tomorrow night, New York
Right?
City. Jon B, Shea Universe. I thank you guys for pulling up. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
So much.
Congrats on everything.
Thank you.
All
Let's-
right.